Hello and welcome to day 2 of our 5-day deep stretch challenge. This is instructor Katie, and today our focus is going to lengthen, create space, and reach nice and long. We'll go ahead and start on our mat. We'll be standing. Let's go ahead and get those feet under our hips, toes facing forward. I'm going to reach my right arm up overhead. Left hand is going to come to my left hip. I'm going to take a big inhale and reach my arm that's overhead towards the left. Hand is open. Left hand is kind of guiding my hips away from my hand. So a nice big side bend here. Go ahead and bring right hand back down to right hip. Now raising the left arm up and reaching it over to the right. So some gentle side bends here. We'll go ahead and repeat on both sides. Just taking our time here, getting the breath going. Inhale as we're in the center. Exhale as we're reaching right or left. And using that hand that's on our hip to guide the hips away from our reaching arm in the opposite direction. Good. We're trying to keep the chest open here as well. The chest and head still facing directly forward, 12 o'clock, even as we're reaching to the right and the left. Keeping the breath going here. Good. We'll go for about 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. I'm going to finish that rep you are on. We're going to widen the feet out about 2 times outside of our hips. A very wide stance. My toes are going to be pointing slightly outward. Nose and face are still pointing directly ahead. I'm going to lower my hips, bend my knees just slightly, about a quarter squat or even a little less than that. From here, once again, taking that big inhale, filling the lungs. I'm going to slowly shift all of my weight into my right leg. Right knee is going to go outward just a little bit. My hands are on my hips. I'm going to feel that nice stretch in my inner left thigh. We'll hold for just about a second, and then we'll come back to center and switch into that left side. So shifting all the weight into our left leg, feeling the stretch in the inner right thigh, and repeating. We can take this one as deep or as shallow as we'd like. You just want to feel a nice stretch in that inner thigh area. Elongating and starting to lengthen those muscles all around our femur or our thigh bone. There's a lot of them. Once again, keeping those breaths in mind as we get the body moving. Feel free to turn the toes up in our lengthened leg to get a little deeper of a stretch. Also feel free to extend the arms, using the hands. Hand placement is totally optional in this position as we're stretching our inner thigh. Go for about 10 more seconds here. 3, 2, 1. Let's walk our feet back under our hips, coming to that neutral standing position. Next, we're going to be working some sun salutations type movements. So I'll go ahead and walk us through those. As I said, we're in that neutral standing position. We're going to start by taking a big inhale and taking both of our arms up overhead very slowly. So out to the sides and then up overhead, kind of drawing a big circle. At the top here, we're going to inhale, exhale. As we exhale, we're going to lower those arms back down, reaching all the way down towards the mat, towards our toes, feet, ankles. So now I'm in a forward fold position. We're going to hang out here for just a second, feeling that length in the back of our leg. I'm going to take an inhale and just lift myself up halfway. So tracing my hands along my shins, inhale, trying to flatten out my back, but still keeping my legs extended. I'm going to exhale, reach all the way back down towards my toes and the mat, feeling that intense lengthening stretch along the back of my legs. On my next inhale, I'm going to raise both arms up overhead once again. I'm going to bring my palms together and slowly exhale and lower the hands in front of my face until they meet in front of my chest. And we will repeat that process for 2 more times. So back in that neutral stance, inhale, arms go out to the sides, up overhead, reaching at the top here, trying to touch the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold, down to the mat. We might get a little deeper than we did last time. Always feel free to add a slight bend in the knee if we need to. If our stretch is feeling too intense by having our knees locked out, just add a little bit of bend. Inhale, half lift. So flattening out the back, keeping our hands on our shins or our knees or our thighs. Exhale, full forward fold, reaching as far as we can to the mat. Inhale, arms up overhead, palms come together. Slowly exhale and lower the hands in front of our face and chest, ending at the chest. Let's go one more here. Last round of big breaths. Remember to inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. And our last time, let's inhale. Arms out and overhead, reaching long, creating that space in the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Seeing if we can get to that farthest point so far as our legs are stretched and our bodies warmed up. Inhale, half lift, flattening out the back. Exhale, forward fold. And one last big inhale through the nose. Arms up overhead, palms come together. Exhale, lowering the hands in front of the face and ending at the chest. Lovely. Let's go ahead and grab a sip of water if we need it. Make sure we're listening to our bodies today and doing what we need for our body. Let's go ahead and find our way back to the mat. We're going to find that neutral standing position once again. From here, I'm going to step out with my right foot, just a normal steps width away. My left foot is going to trail behind me about 2 steps. So now I'm in kind of a lengthened lunge position. My right toes are facing forward. My left toes are slightly pointed out to the left as they trail behind me. From here, we're going to take a big inhale. Raise both arms up overhead while we're in this lunge position, and let's just reach those fingertips to the ceiling, keeping our back foot planted and front foot. Feeling a nice stretch in those inner thighs and even that calf muscle in our trail leg. And we're just going to hold here as we reach nice and long. Try to get that ceiling. Let's take a few deep breaths. See if with every exhale you can just reach a little further overhead. Feeling that core stabilize our spine as we're in this lunge position. On my next breath, I'm going to slowly lower my right elbow to my right thigh and just rest it there. My left arm, I'm going to reach it over my left ear in front of my body and just extend it to where my toes are pointing. So reaching over my ear to the wall that's in front of me, stretching along that entire left side of the back. Inner thighs are still stretched and long. And once again, we're just trying to create as much space as possible between our hip and our shoulders. How far can I get my left hand away from my left foot? Couple more breaths here. 3, 2, 1. Let's bring our left arm back to neutral. Right arm as well. And let's slowly raise ourselves back up. Let's step our feet back together under our hips. Go ahead and shake out the knees, shake out the shoulders, shake out the hips as we reset. Now we'll be switching legs. So I'll be stepping my left foot out in front of me, just a normal steps width away. Right foot is going to take 2 steps behind me. Once again, in that lengthened lunge position. My front left toes are facing directly ahead. My trail leg or right foot, my toes are pointing just slightly outward to the right. And my hips are as neutral facing forward 12 o'clock as possible. There's going to be a slight bend in that left leg. Right leg's going to be extended. From here, once again, neutral arms. We're going to take that big inhale. Raise both arms up overhead. And just lengthen. Find that reach. Reach to the ceiling while we're in this lunge. Head's going to stay neutral between the shoulders, between the arms. Once again, feeling that stretch, inner thigh, calf. Reach, create that length. You can add a gentle rock and sink into that front left leg and rock back. Just doing what we need. Keep reaching. See if with every breath you can extend a little longer. On our next breath, let's lower our left elbow down to our left thigh, left knee. Extend the right arm long overhead, opening the chest up to the right. Reaching the right arm over right ear. And reaching out in front of us as far as we can, creating that space between hips, shoulders. Feeling a nice stretch in there. Seeing how far my right hand can get away from my right foot. Taking deep breaths here as well. So a couple more breaths. Exhale, extending longer. On our next breath, let's release that arm, slowly raise ourselves back up, and step the feet back together to that neutral stance. Let's roll out the shoulders, shake out the hips, shake out the knees. And before we go into our transition, we're going to do one more lengthening pose here from a standing position. So let's get our feet just slightly outside of our hips. Toes are facing forward. From here, I'm going to inhale, reach both arms up overhead. And I'm going to bend my knees just slightly and sit my bottom and glutes back behind me, just about a quarter squat or less, or even a little bit more. Trying to create length between my hands and the hips, also known as chair pose. Let's take a few deep breaths here. Really see how much we can separate the shoulders from our ribs. Keep your head neutral between your shoulders. Toes are facing forward. And 3, 2, 1. Let's release those arms, release the legs. Come back to neutral standing. All right, let's go ahead, slowly lower our hands down to the mat, close to our feet. We're going to walk our hands out away from our feet, almost to the edge or the top of our mat. Once we get a nice wide grip with our hands, we're going to walk our feet back behind us as well. So now we're in a very high plank position. From here, we're going to raise at the hips, tipping the hips up, pushing them up to the sky. My feet may flatten out, or I might be on my tiptoes. We're in a downward dog position, kind of making a triangle out of myself. Feel free to pedal the heels here. We're wanting to create a little more length in our hamstrings or along the entire back of the leg. Just make sure we're pushing away from those palms, engaging the shoulders, while also stretching and lengthening the entire back of the leg. Other option, if we don't like to be too heavy on our wrists, keep the legs extended, hips up, but lower yourself down to your forearms, also called the dolphin. That is another option if we're wanting to give our wrists a little bit of a break. So let's just enjoy this down dog for a few more breaths, or dolphin. On our next inhale, let's go ahead and bring the right knee between our hands and lower it down to the mat. So both legs will fall down to the mat, but now my right knee is folded under my torso and between my hands, and my left leg is trailing long behind me. This is the start of our pigeon pose. We can also try to get our shin parallel, our front right shin parallel to the mat, the top of the mat. I prefer to keep it folded under me. But we're just letting that left leg trail nice and long. Let's go ahead and lower ourselves down to our forearms, just kind of folding over that knee. Option is stay right here, or we can create even more length by reaching our arms out in front of us, walking the fingers away from our shoulders, and just elongating the spine, creating lots of space between my hands and my left foot that is trailing behind me. Go ahead and let your head relax. Just let it fall between your shoulders. It might even come all the way down to the mat. Just take a few breaths here. Feel your lungs expand with every breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And if it's a little intense to be folded on your knee, feel free to add a support between your hamstring and your calf under your knee. You can help with a pillow, towel, anything to help if you don't have quite that much flexion in your knee. On our next inhale, let's walk our hands back towards our knee if we decided to lengthen. Pause here for just a second. Take a couple more breaths. On our next inhale, let's fold the left toes underneath us. Prepare to lift ourselves back up into a down dog or dolphin. So inhale, go ahead and extend the right leg back behind us again, finding that down dog pose or dolphin, pedaling the heels as we transition to switching sides. And really doing our best to push away from the palms and guide the hips up. Imagining there's a string attached to your hips and it's pulling them up to the ceiling. On our next exhale, let's go ahead and bring the left knee now between our hands, lowering it down to the mat and letting the right leg trail behind us, nice and long. Slowly lower ourselves down to our forearms, or we can stay kind of in that half cobra pigeon position. Feel free to get the shin parallel to the top of the mat or just stay folded over the left leg, making sure our right leg is trailing long behind us. Feeling a nice stretch and release in the left glute. And once again, we have the option here to walk our hands and fingertips away from our body, creating as much space as possible between hands and right foot. Lots of stretch in our shoulder, back. Just with each exhale, trying to feel that release and get just a little more length in your body. And using any supports needed here, modifying to what we need, whether that's with a pillow, holding positions nice and long, at least 30 seconds, so that our body gets that stretch reflex. Takes at least 30 seconds. next inhale, let's walk the hands back towards our knee. Get them on either side, spreading the fingers nice and wide, nice and long. Let's tuck the right toes. Take a big inhale. Reach the left leg back to meet the right. And once again, pushing the hips up into the air, creating that length in the entire backside of the leg. Pedaling the heels right to left. Let's slowly bring both knees down to the mat and find ourselves in a seated position. Wherever is comfortable for you. That could be crisscross, that could be legs out in front of you. That could be butterfly, just whatever we need today. Finding that comfortable seated position. Time to lengthen some of our upper body. So while we're seated, we might naturally come to that rounded shoulder position. Let's go ahead and roll the shoulders up, back, and down, opening up the chest and practicing good posture. So shoulder blades are in my back pockets. From here, I'm going to extend my right arm, lift it out at about shoulder height. I'm going to bring it across my chest. Meet to be in my right hand is going to be outside of my left shoulder. I'm going to use my left elbow to hook my right elbow and pull it into my chest. So my right arm is now extended and crossed my body. And I'm using that left arm to stretch the triceps, the shoulder. Let's go ahead and push that right shoulder down as we do this cross body arm stretch. Feeling that length happening in the shoulder, in the triceps groups. Taking a few deep breaths here. Wiggling the fingers if we need to. Rolling the wrists. Movement is free. If you feel that right shoulder rising up, so your body can get a little more twist, push it down. You can feel the real stretch. Let's go ahead and release that right arm. Shake out the shoulders, shoulder blades roll back once again, back and down. Let's raise the left arm now at about shoulder height. Cross it over our chest, using the right elbow to hook the left elbow and pull it into our chest. Now my left hand is extended over to the right. Feeling a nice elongating stretch in my left shoulder. And I'm going to push that left shoulder down. Once again, wiggling the fingers, rolling the wrists, adding whatever movement we feel here, but feeling that lengthening stretch in our left shoulder. Go ahead and release that left arm. Shake out the shoulders. We're going to raise our right arm at shoulder height once again. We're going to take it up overhead. I'm going to bend at the elbow and reach the right palm of my hand and try to find the base of my neck or between my shoulder blades. So now my right elbow is pointed up to the ceiling and my right hand is on the back of my neck. Next, I'm going to take my left hand to find my right elbow, Just gently guide it to the wall that's behind me, stretching out the triceps on the back side of the arm. Lengthening those 3 muscles that make up the triceps. And we can naturally let our chin come to rest on our chest while we're in this position. Just a few more breaths. On our next exhale, let's release those arms down. Take out the shoulders once again, and we'll switch sides. So raising left arm up overhead, bending at the elbow, finding the base of our neck with our left palm, left hand. Left elbow points up to the ceiling. Right hand comes to left elbow, slightly pulls it just gently to the wall behind us. Tricep stretch. Create more length in those tricep muscles. Big inhales through the nose, big exhales through the mouth. Get just a few more breaths here. On our next exhale, let's release those arms down and roll out the shoulders. From whatever seated position we found ourselves in, go ahead and release it, and let's bring, unless you were in butterfly, let's bring the soles of our feet together. And my knees are going to naturally fall out to the right and left sides. From here, I'm going to slowly roll myself down to a lying position on the mat, one vertebrae at a time, keeping my knees wide and falling out from each other. Kind of a lying butterfly stretch, creating some space in the hips, lengthening the inner thigh muscles. If this is a bit too much, use some pillows or any other kind of object to support your knees. So placing them under your knees for just a little added support. Also, be mindful, is your back wanting to arch a lot in this position? If so, bring the heels a little closer to your body and tuck your pelvis. You can find a nice flat position in your back. This is a great tension release exercise. Once again, creating that space in our hips where it tends to get really tight. Feel free to keep your arms down by your sides, down on the mat. They can be resting on your thighs. They can be supporting your knees. Let's take just a couple more breaths here. On our next exhale, let's go ahead and release. So stretching our legs now long and straight. Everything's down on the mat, corpse pose. In true lengthening fashion, let's go ahead and reach our arms overhead, finding the floor that's above us. and just stretching as long as we can. So I'm elongating my shoulders, reaching my fingertips out and away from my shoulders. I'm going to point my toes and reach them as far as I can away from my face. So just in this lying position, stretching as long as you can. Let's take a few breaths. Let's gently bring the arms back down to our sides, keeping our legs long. Let's flex the right foot and bring the right leg up to the sky. Maybe straightened or a slight bend in the knee. We're going to slowly lower that right leg over the center of our body, over our left side, and bring it to the floor. That's to the left of us. My knee may find the floor first, or my foot. I'm in a lying twist position right now. And here I want you to reach your right arm out away from you on the right side at shoulder height. Once again, seeing how much space we can create between right foot and right hand while in this lying twist position. Take our nose to face our right hand, just adding to that twist in the spine. Again, reminder to use supports where you need them. I always use yoga straps, or sometimes I need supports under my knees. Every day our body can feel different, and that's okay. On our next inhale, let's lengthen the right leg again. Slowly bring it back over our body to the ceiling, and slowly lowering it back down to meet our left leg. Right arm's going to come in as well, back down to our side. Let's flex the left foot. Raise the left leg up towards the ceiling and slowly lower it over to the right side of our body, of our mat. Let's extend our left arm away from our body at about shoulder height and turn our nose to face that left hand, creating as much space as we can between left foot and left hand. Lying twist. Taking those deep breaths here. On our next inhale, let's straighten the leg, left leg, bring it back overhead. Slowly lower it back down to the mat to meet our right leg. Let's slowly roll ourselves up to a seated position and eventually come to standing. Once we're in that neutral standing position, let's take one more big inhale. Reach both arms up overhead. Come to our tiptoes. Reach to the ceiling. Wiggle the fingers. Just creating space, reaching as long as we can. And exhale. Lower the arms and give yourselves a pat on the back. Thank you for joining day 2 of our 5-day deep stretch challenge. Don't forget to breathe, hydrate, and stay tuned for more on our channel. Thank you.